Hello, my name is Emily Reniger, and welcome back to another installment of Hashtag Feature Friday, a segment dedicated to showcasing different student athletes, coaches, and personnel in the Rising Stars Football Academy family. Now, today we have Isaiah Sturgis. Isaiah played high school football at Central York, where he was a star running back and helped bring a district championship back to York his senior year. He accumulated 119 carries and 795 yards to go along with 7 touchdowns, which helped him earn first team YAIAA Division I by league coaches for the second straight season. Now, after graduating, he accepted an offer to play Division I football at St. Francis University in Loretto, Pennsylvania. He's also been a great asset to the Rising Stars Football Academy family, as he often helps coach at our camps and combines. And we appreciate him taking the time to talk with us today. So thanks for being here, Isaiah.
So of course.
Now, first, I really just wanted to kind of dive into sports in general with you. So, what sports did
That's
you
you.
play growing up before that you knew football might be your number one?
To be honest with you, I did a couple different sports. I wrestled, played basketball, ran track. I actually started off at soccer, and I didn't like dislike any of them, but none of them had my passion like football. Like as a kid, when I was sad, I watched Ravens games with my dad and stuff. Like I was really into football, and it's just something I always wanted to do. But I mean, the other sports they help. It's just I don't know. They didn't have it out for me. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't able to really be myself in those sports. And football was the thing that I felt like I had the most fun and most passion to do, when I got older.
And how do you think that those other sports influence the way that you play football? Do you think they helped with your like hand-eye coordination or your footwork?
Yes, definitely. One thing I recommend is running track for a lot of, young people out there, man. Even linemen, man. If you guys want to go out and throw, that's a big thing. It's just keep working on your strength. Mobility is really important. Learn how to, really strengthen my legs. In case I, have to break out a run or something, man, I have track speed. As for basketball, yes, the hand-eye coordination. For me personally, I didn't play it for that long just because I was more of a rough kid. But I mean, other sports really do help. Wrestling for guys that want help with tackling, trying to get around and get comfortable and being in low positions, especially if you have a low ground. For me, I'm on the short side. A lot of athletes come out and they're not that tall. So, be honest with you, wrestling's a really, really good one. It just depends on your build, man, and what you're really into and what position you play. I feel like almost any sport can correlate.
Now, I mentioned that you played running back, but you've actually played a
Yeah,
couple different positions on the football field. So, can you
yeah.
give us a little insight into the other positions and how it really helps
Okay.
your overall knowledge of the game?
I actually was more so a linebacker when I was younger, and really until I'd say my sophomore year of high school, I played linebacker, I guess cornerback for a year, but that didn't really, do much for me. Being on that side of the ball, I wish it's something that I stuck with just so I could, see it from both ends. But it did boost my IQ. When I did go to watch film on other people and my opponents, I was able to kind of see their tendencies off stuff that I would do and help me as a runner be able to like break down my opponents, man. It was something that I found useful at the end, especially my senior year in the playoffs. I was able to kind of tell what I could do with each player just out of stuff that I used to do on my own and kind of learn from being over there. Also, it helps with film. I know this wasn't really part of the question, but please play two positions, man. The more dynamic you are, or if you're on special teams, it's really going to help you get exposure and stuff. And coaches really, really like people that could do both things. In case one side doesn't work out for you, they can count on you for the other.
And you've been lucky enough to play with your high school teammates and, your best friends for many years now, with like seven of
Right,
you going D1 after high school. So, can you tell
right.
me what it was like to compete every day with those guys who you knew were going to push you to be the best?
It's one of those things where I felt like we all have respect for each other. It sucks not being able to play with all of them. I still get to play with one of them. A couple of them are in my conference, but we all knew each other's strengths and weaknesses, man. We would honestly attack each other's weaknesses sometimes and kind of pick with each other, but it wasn't, out of disrespect. It was really just I'm trying to make you better. For example, with my friend Seth, he could tackle anybody. If he touches you, it's over. You know what I'm saying? If he grabs you, it's hard to break off his tackle. But for me, I was more mobile than him. So that's where I knew I could cut around him. Somebody like Jack Smith, I had him with speed. His technique and his IQ was crazy, but that kind of made me build my confidence with actually trying to outrun, LBs and stuff. We always laugh about this, but I know he's not happy. Even if I used to run past him and stare at him like as I run, and I knew it made him mad, but it pushed him because after a while, it's just nobody would do that to him. Like in games, he was taking better angles and stuff. That was my whole point. I want him to change up his angles, his flow. Having a quarterback like Bo, My goodness, Bo's IQ, man. It's kind of just funny how we would talk back and forth in the back of the huddle. Just he really helped me with my confidence with my hands, route running, recognizing blocks and everything like that. Shout out to my man Gaffney as well. As for defense, playing against plenty of different defenders. Sometimes Kyle on the D line, but also having him on offense helped playing against Victor. Very, very athletic. Like it's just one of them things where I kind of roam around and you get something different from each player, but we all have strengths and weaknesses that kind of correlate. So, when I went to college, it wasn't that hard going against some of these athletes because I played with guys just like them.
And like I mentioned, you guys won the district championship your senior year. So, can you talk a
Yeah.
little about that playoff run and what really stood out about your team that allowed you guys to be so successful?
When it came down to the team, it was never our talent that I felt was in question. It was more so our dedication. We were always a talented group and we always had good chemistry, but I felt like this year we all finally had that final push. And the culture in the school was something I thought was very important. I always joke around with Coach Ron just because with him being from Red Lion, I always gotta, throw little shots at him. But I mean, really that's what I felt set us different from everybody. It wasn't that we had the most talent. It was really just our chemistry and brotherhood. And that run really defined it. You had really great athletes all around, but at the end of the day, I felt like it was kind of dedication that kind of pieced it together for all of us. A lot of us played with a chip on our shoulder. We didn't have offers. It was our last year. We had a lot of people on our back around the county, and it was really hard, but we had to put in a lot of extra work to be able to kind of get to where we were going. It's kind of funny the schedule for me personally, and I know a lot of my other teammates is I get on Zoom because of COVID, and after my class, I'd be watching film for hours straight. Just studying my opponents, taking notes and everything. And then I would text my coaches and contact them. I'd drive to the school. I'd sit in a meeting with my coaches, just as I would do in college now. And after that, I would go and talk to my teammates about what they saw and what I saw. And then we would kind of let that go to practice. And it's kind of how we would move. The game plans each week were very precise and we did things different. If you ask Coach Janchek at all or Coach says practice schedule, man, it changed. We start practicing really, really late at night, different practices throughout harder weather. It's my first snow practice ever. But at the end of the day, I can honestly say I was proud of being able to do that because of the dedication. A lot of people wouldn't want to get up and do that, lift extra, take the extra time to study. And I mean, I honestly found it great at the end of the day because when we had a lot of people on our back and a lot of people supporting us, it felt like we were actually giving them something to look towards and we were working for it truthfully. No matter how much talent we did have, man, it was really just that extra effort, extra mile that I felt like we really went that kind of defined us in our championship run.
And you were actually selected to play in the Big 33 Football Classic. So, for those who might not know what that is, can you explain the significance and really the honor that it is to be chosen for that game?
So to make it basic at first, take top players from the state of PA and the state of Maryland, and we basically play an all-star game just to make it a little simple for anybody. Realistically, the honor behind it was crazy. You have a lot of big players. In my opinion, two of my favorite running backs in the league right now actually went there, with Miles Sanders being one and Chase Edmonds also being another one. Ben Roethlisberger just retired. He was in there as well. A lot of people that I meet in college have been in this game. Actually, my roommate, he was a long snapper in the game the same year as me, so it's kind of some, it's cool. That's how I met him. I didn't realize the honor, and that was the biggest high school game I've ever played in. And I played in the state chip, but that game right there, and I had a lot of people rooting for me that I didn't even know. Some people coming up to me like cheering for me, telling me good job, and I'm just like, I've never seen that guy in my life. But like, it's the fact that he came out with his family, and there's people with little posters and stuff just cheering us on, and it was something really special for the community. And I felt like that was the best part about the game because it really wasn't about us. We got selected to play, but realistically, it brought people together, especially after COVID. I was honestly happy to see my family back out there, my friends and their family, and just people from all around two states, not even just one, tuning into this game, and then people, all across the country watching the game. Just cheering us on, man. Like that was probably the best part about it. We gave back to a lot of people. We did a lot of fundraising. I've met so many people that have now become friends to me that I talk to on Instagram. But at the end of the day, it's just being able to reach that many people by doing something as small as playing a football game. I feel like that's really what meant the most to me out of it.
I really want to dive into your recruiting process. So, what schools
Right.
were you looking at to play, and how did St. Francis get on the radar?
The top three I had were all in the same conference. It was Wagner, St. Francis, and Sacred Heart when it came down to my decision. However, my junior year, I started getting recruited by St. Francis and Fordham. Honestly, both schools were actually looking at me and talking to me. And it was something I was kind of scared about because, like, didn't want to say anything and not go to the school. Like that was so scary. Like I didn't even tell my family for months, to be honest. I was just talking to coaches, and the recruiting process, I'll admit, isn't easy. I don't want people to think it's going to be easy, and I want them to be able to hear from me first that it's one of those things that you have to be very, very patient and be calm about it. But something that I wish if I ever went back, I could do a little bit better. My brother, he went to Kutztown. His recruiting process helped me so much with mine. I must admit, I talked to so many schools, man. It didn't matter the division. I was just excited to be able to talk to schools and have an opportunity. And please don't burn your bridges. No matter your division, it could be a Division 3, a JUCO, an AIA, Division 2, Division 1. Don't burn a bridge because you never know who's going to go where and where you'll end up. Just talking to coaches, taking visits, and really weeding out what was going to be best for me. So when I had to choose the schools that I was basically granted, with Wagner, Sacred Heart, and St. Francis, it really came down to the coaches, definitely the campus, and where I thought I would grow the most at. A lot of people want to go for gear, do a lot of things that's flashy, but to be honest, this is where you're going to live and you still have to go to school. I'm saying
Mhm.
it's a lot of priorities outside of football, and I want a lot of people to know that because you got to grow as a person outside of just the sport. You're not going to be on the field every single day playing a game. It's a lot of life outside of football, and that's something that I learned while I was going through my process.
And what are you majoring in, and what would you like to
Uh,
do with that major after college?
Gotcha. I'm actually a criminal justice major. I like pre-law, and I'm a minor in sociology. So for me, I just feel like that really works for my personality. Personally, trying my best to clean up what I can out of the system. I know it's not a one-man job, but one person doing it is better than nobody doing it. I do want to do something in an agency, specifically a federal agency, but that's really what I think I like the most, just because it is a high level. The more I get into my study and more I'm learning, especially about these systems and how we do corrections, how we do rehab and stuff. I just find it's really important to give a lot of people second chances and give them the help they might not have as a kid or even as an adult. Sometimes people go through things they just didn't have the resource to handle. So that's really why I like my studies. And for SOC, I could really dig into people's brain. I can see where they're coming from. I'm saying I don't like just seeing the world from my own view. Somebody else going through something, I want to be able to understand them too.
And can you talk a little about the daily schedule that you have with, your class and all your academic stuff, but obviously you guys have workouts and practice and study hall.
For freshmen, we have the 6 a.m. workouts, right? So we'd have to wake up at 5. And my specific routine, especially with my roommate, was he has this super loud alarm that scares me every morning. So wake up, I stare at the wall for a little bit, go brush my teeth, put on my deodorant, change my clothes, work out for a good hour and some change. After that, I'll have a meeting directly after the workout. And if I don't, then I'll go and make sure I eat. That's very important to eat. Seriously, like it's one of those things where you're going to be on the go so much, you have to eat. You might not even think about it, but you have to eat. So if I'm not eating, I'm at a meeting, and after either of those events, I have a class or I had a class, my schedule changes. After that class, I had another class. After that class, I had another meeting. Then I had study hall. So I had to make sure I got 4 hours in every week. So I might spend an hour or two at study hall. Then I would go either to another class or I'd go to another meeting. Then I'd eat again. Then I might have another meeting, then practice. And then I'd get up and do it again. So that was really how fall was. It wasn't easy, but the commitment is going to be important. This is really where I want a lot of people to hear this. If you have a fear of not making that many friends in college, or you're afraid of going through this alone, or you won't have people around you, when you do this with a group of people consistently, they become your family. Make sure everybody's held accountable. We do not miss a lift. We all eat together. We go to classes, meetings together. It gets a lot easier once it goes on. Like the first week or two, I was just like, man, this a lot. Like kind of crazy going to sleep and then waking up and being like, yeah, I gotta do this again. But after a while, it's just life. Like it's normal and it becomes fun again. It's important to have fun with doing all this because you gotta realize everybody else is doing this too. But I mean, this is a part of it. This is why we're high level athletes. This is the commitment that we do. And if you really want to be at a high level and you want to make it somewhere on your team, you have to do this. It's honestly the bare minimum. For parents and everything, please keep in contact with your kids throughout this because this is something important. I don't think I've ever talked to my parents that much after like that point in time. I was just giving them a rundown and they were able to call me and just helped me out and it was fun. And then now I'm kind of back to being on my independent type time. But it's just one of those things where it is going to be important to be vocal and support your child through this one, just because the growing up hits really fast, especially when you get that schedule, whether it be camp or just classes. The schedule is going to make you grow up fast, and the coaches look at you as an adult. As soon as you step into the school, you're an adult, and it's very important to know that. And it's never a disrespectful thing. They don't do this because they don't like you or they're picking with you. It's because they love you. They want to see you grow and they want to see you be better people. No matter what you're doing, they want to see you be the best. So they're going to push you, and you're going to have to meet some strict deadlines. But
Yeah, have you found it difficult to, like, manage all of these aspects to being a student athlete, or are you
uh,
getting any assistance from the school to make sure you guys are good academically?
we definitely get a lot of assistance. They do have resources and they'll help. They definitely help a lot. Like we have a study table. I'm not sure if every college has this, but we have a study table, which is mandatory to show up for a certain amount of hours and just do straight work. After the study table's over, we have resources in our library, and our classrooms at St. Francis are really small. At a lot of bigger universities, you might have like you're gonna have a lot of people. My classes are like 12 people. It's like being in high school again. As for me, I really didn't stress. They have apps, they have counseling, they have so many resources. Like I said, I talked to my parents and kind of just try to figure out how to handle my scheduling, as well as the coaches. Some coaches will really help you out. I can't speak for every coach, but my coaches did help me out. And after practice, we'll do a little huddle, just my position group. And he asking me about school, and I'm just like, You're not gonna ask me if I ate today. Like you're worried about my academics, but like that's just how it is sometimes. Like they definitely care for what you're doing as a student way before what you do as an athlete.
And like I mentioned, you've helped with different Rising Stars Football Academy events too. So
Mhm.
can you tell me a little about your relationship with Ron and what it's like working with him?
My relationship with Ron is dope. It's grown so much. Man, for him to invite me to actually help at his camp, I think was probably one of the biggest steps to helping me build a relationship with him. When I first met Ron, of course, I was at S3 training, where he trains. And I was just like, yeah, he got husky. Like that's a tall guy. Like he just in the corner looking scary. I'm just lifting and stuff, and he would just like say "What's up, man?" and give me a fist bump, and that would be it. It wasn't much. I was just like, cool. So out of nowhere, he was like, yeah, like I will train you. Like he took me one day, and ever since I've trained with him primary. Like I don't even know when it switched. It just did. We always laugh because with him being from Red Lion and me being from Central, he coached against my brother and he had a clutch like catch on him and they won the game. And I always make fun of him for it. I always make fun of him for me beating him. So it's great. Like he can take jokes and he's definitely helped me, especially with my recruiting. Like on a serious note, I gotta give a lot of thanks to Ron for helping me look at, what I wanted to do. A lot of people are worried about going Division 1. I'm gonna be honest, you can make it out of any division. For example, Ron was a PSAC athlete. He came out of ship and my man was on the Eagles. There's a lot of people that goes Division 1 and they don't make it that far. You know what I'm saying? He just told me how to really stay on top of things and he let me challenge myself as well as he challenged me. And if I ever asked him to up any, work, he would do it. He talked to me about my academics, told me how important it was. He just told me about his academics and told me what he wished he could do better and made sure that I did it better, which is something I really appreciated. Because to be honest, a year before we had that conversation, he didn't know me at all. So for him to really look at a young dude at the time and give every bit of sauce he had, that was tough. With him bringing me into the camp, personally, my favorite part of our relationship is probably that, just because I really got to see it from his shoes. I didn't realize how hard coaching was and how much he put into coaching until I seen how he ran that camp. And I always appreciated him, but that right there was something crazy. His help with the Big 33, his connections, just everything he did, I was like, you didn't really have to do this for me. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just out of nowhere. You didn't have to do this for me. He never really stopped giving a hand. And I was just like, yo, he's family now. You know what I'm saying? He's invited to the cookout. Like, Ron, cool. Like that was that type of love. And when I got there, I got my room key, I met you, and he was just like, all right, here's this person, here's that person. I need you to do this. I need you to help with that. If I ever asked him like about the kids at the camp or just certain things, it was so like easy to talk to him. So I really don't have a second thought or any like second questions, man. He helped me with my conditioning test. I was so shook about failing it because it was college, and I was like, yo, they probably running crazy over there. And he was just like, nah, be confident in yourself. You're gonna pass. and I passed better than half the people in my class. I was like, all right. And he asked me about college, and he still texts me about college and how I'm holding up, and when I want to come back to train. And he helps me with training. I'm very stubborn, and I didn't want to leave training. And he was just like, if you don't go home and sleep, like you won't sleep, and just sent me home. Like he cares. And I'm like, why do you care that much? Like it's just crazy. Ron has been like one of the dopest mentors I had. So I don't know. I can only think of positivity other than when he'd be making me run like crazy at workouts. That's really it.
And as you start up your second semester at college here, what are some of the goals that you'd like to accomplish in the classroom, but also on the football field?
But in the classroom, definitely Dean's List. It's just important. I really want to be able to get something from my academics. I already feel like I do, but it's just important. And I feel like if I'm not striving towards something, I'm not doing it right. I want to be a good person off the field just as much as I am on the field. And I want to be a stand up guy. This is one of the things where I want my professors to be able to come talk to me, ask me questions, rely on me if the class quiet, know that I studied and know that I'm into what they're telling me. Like I don't want them to waste their time. I know it's their job too. I want to make it easier for them because sometimes a lot of it, like they make it easy for me. I got a real good relationship with them, and I just want to continue that. As for the field, really looking towards nutrition, knowing my playbook inside out. Something I don't have to question at all. Really want to build chemistry with my coaches, with my teammates. Just want to be consistent more. I really do want to be a consistent athlete with everything I do. I just want to be able to get my 100. And I really learned to do small steps. I felt like I was really trying to do big things. I don't know why. I just wanted to like jump where I wasn't supposed to jump. And for anybody that is listening, don't do that. The small stuff matters because when you start jumping too much, man, you missing the just the slightest details. And that's where injury comes in, lack of playbook, lack of play time, just not understanding the slightest things. Don't make it harder for yourself. For my freshman year, I felt like I was making it a little too hard for myself. Now I'm like, all right, I go to my lifts. I lift what they tell me to lift. I might sneak on a couple pounds, I'll admit, but like I'll lift, I'll make sure I'm running. I'll try and challenge myself, bring my teammates up with me, even though I know none of us want to be up at 5 a.m. running in a gym, but that's just how it is. I'm trying to find my way to be a leader without having to change my character. I always felt like I was a quiet leader that kind of led by action. I'll be a reliable teammate that people like. And I'm just trying to keep building on who I am. That's really what I think I'm focused on. I'm just trying to build the best me right now. And I feel like that's going to be able to take me a lot farther than trying to be somebody I'm not.
Well, I got one more for you. So, to end on a high note here, what's one piece of advice that you'd like to share with any high school or junior high football player?
I really want them to be able to accept and love themselves. I'm gonna be real. I've been one person who I challenge myself so much that to be real, my main battle throughout my whole career has really been me versus me. And if I have to highlight anything, it would be being your best ally. Don't be your worst enemy. Have confidence in yourself. Don't be cocky, be humble, but definitely be confident. You go and you work out, you might see somebody throwing numbers and you wish you were there. Just keep working because you will be there. You're going to build and you're going to make it. You just got to be patient. I really wasn't patient. I stressed a lot, very young, and I was trying to control things I couldn't control. I don't want them to be able to do that. It's not something that's healthy. And yeah, I might be where I'm at, but I could have made it a lot easier on myself. With the resources that you have, make sure you keep building. If you're training with your school, make sure you go get some extra training and target your weak points. That's really something I felt was hard for me because I didn't want to face what I wasn't good at. But target your weak points because that's just only going to make you better. And when you start understanding and loving yourself through everything, I feel like it's really going to build the best out of you. You're going to find some peace no matter what. And I really want people to find peace and positivity and have fun. The whole reason I play this sport is because it's fun to me. Like it's something I'm passionate about. I don't want to play it and be like, it's a job. I don't like it. Like, no, I'm just going to want to quit. Honestly, no matter how old they are, I think I really got serious at age 13. I always told myself I'm actually from Maryland, so it's kind of funny talking about PA this whole time and going to college in PA. But me being from Maryland, I was always chatting, talking about wanting to go to the University of Maryland, yada yada, just because that's the team I watched as a kid. And I did start working my butt off, but the older I got, man, there was so many things I realized and opportunities and bridges and coaches. Shout out to my man Coach Says, but man, I found so much love and so much connection that football is just football to me. It's really a connect for me. It's not just a sport. Like I have fun. I meet people. Kids I coach at the camp, they still be in my DM. I still be answering. I still like their posts. I still comment under their posts. It just doesn't change, man. At one point, I fell in love with the game, and I really want to continue being in love with the game no matter what. So, I
Mhm.
mean, no matter how old they are, even if it's your senior year, just I want to remind everybody that's watching that I didn't get anything until my senior year. Didn't have offers all high school. A lot of people that have offers their sophomore year, junior year, and they living up there, they living high, man. It's great. But just keep working, you know what I'm saying? You never know when it's gonna be your year. You never know when it's gonna be your time, your calling. It's literally playing with a mystery hand. But if you really got your back and other people got your back and you keeping it positive, it's gonna be so much easier than putting all that weight on your shoulders.
Well, I appreciate you speaking with me today and sharing all your football insight, not only at the high school level, but the collegiate level as well. So, best
You
of luck this next semester and really
thank
appreciate your
you.
time. Thank you.
Got you, of course.